Hello, and thank you for coming to hear about our research into optimality in online multi-agent pathfinding. I'm Jonathan Morag, and this is a joint work with Roni Stern, Ariel Felner, Atzmon, and Boyarski. Multi-agent pathfinding, or MAPF, is a problem where we are given a graph and a set of agents. A solution to this problem is a set of plans, taking each agent from its source to its goal. The solution is constrained such that agents may not collide. Collisions are typically defined as agents either occupying the same vertex at the same time or swapping vertices in one move. For instance, in this example, choosing the dashed line for the red car would create a collision, whereas the solid lines represent a valid and optimal solution. The target is to find a solution with minimal cost, which is usually defined as the sum of the lengths of all individual plans. In offline or classic MapF, all agents start together, and the problem concludes when all agents are at their goal. In the real world, however, new agents may wish to join over time, and existing agents may leave. Online MapF attempts to account for that. This slightly changes the problem definition, replacing the static set of agents with the stream of agents that gradually appear over time. It's important to note at this point that an online solver for this problem wouldn't know in advance about agents that would appear in the future. Additionally, agents are said to leave the problem after they reach their goal. And they can also choose to wait before entering the shared problem space. Online MapF is relevant for real-world applications. One problem that already exists is robotic warehouses. Another problem that may soon become reality is the centralized routing of autonomous vehicles through intersections or even entire city centers where all vehicles are autonomous. It's been proven that no online MapF algorithm could guarantee to always return the best solution. The lack of information about the future can always cause such a solver to make decisions which will prove suboptimal in the long term. What an online solver can do is return snapshot optimal solutions, meaning the best solution available right now, assuming no new agents arrive in the future. It can still be worthwhile to examine offline optimal solutions to problem instances, since those are a lower bound on the cost of any solution. Most previous work dealt with offline MapF, so many efficient algorithms exist for solving that problem. Some recent research focused on online MapF, showing snapshot optimal or suboptimal solvers for this problem, but never comparing the quality of their solutions against offline optimality. Other works specifically focused on the online robotic warehouse problem. We set out to examine the matter of optimality in online MapF, trying 3 different online MapF variants. We will now see all 3 variants, starting with the first, where we compared offline optimality and snapshot optimality. For this comparison, we used standard online MapF without modifications. Consider 2 similar online MapF problem instances. The first will be called P, and the second P+. The only difference between these 2 problems is that P+ contains 1 extra agent, and that agent appears after all other agents have already appeared. We define delta P as the difference in the sum of costs between a snapshot optimal solution to a problem P and an offline optimal solution to the same problem. Note that this difference is non-negative. In other words, it is the gap in quality between the offline optimal solutions and the snapshot optimal solution. When we add that new extra agent, creating P plus from P, will delta increase? We will now see three necessary conditions for this to happen. Condition 1. Every minimal plan for the new agent has to conflict in some way with any snapshot optimal solution for P. Otherwise, snapshot would simply choose one of the non-conflicting plans for its solution to P+. Condition 2. When adding the new agent, every snapshot optimal solution must either delay one of the existing agents, or it must delay the new agent. Otherwise, it is possible to incorporate the new agent into a new solution without increasing the sum of costs. Condition 3. It must be impossible to arrive at a snapshot optimal solution for P that is identical to an offline optimal solution for P plus up to the time where the new agent appears. If the offline optimal and snapshot optimal solutions are identical up to that time, then snapshot optimal would find the exact same solution as offline optimal, or another solution with equal costs. We now move on to comparing offline optimality and snapshot optimality experimentally. To find snapshot optimal solutions, at each time step where new agents arrive, we move existing agents to their planned locations at that time step, add the new agents, and then use an optimal MapF solver to find a new solution for all agents currently in the problem. To find offline optimal solutions, we solve the online problem instance as an offline MapF problem. This means the solver knows in advance about all agents that would appear in the problem. We used CBS, a state-of-the-art MapF solver, in both cases. We compared offline and snapshot on two dense domains, a grid divided into small rooms, and a grid with random obstacles. We used a total of 40 agents per problem instance and tried different rates for how many agents would appear on average per time step. The results of our experiments show that average solution costs are usually very similar, with most instances even having equal offline and snapshot solution costs. Seeing that there isn't a significant difference between offline and snapshot, and thus snapshot optimal solutions can be considered valuable, we wanted to try a more difficult variant, the cost of reroute variant. In this variant, if an agent is assigned a certain plan at one time, and we want to change that plan later on, we would have to communicate with that agent, and that may be associated with a cost. This variant is unique to the online version of MapF, since in offline MapF, agents will only be given their plans once. Thus, the concept of rerouting an agent doesn't exist. For the same reason, offline optimality is undefined for this cost function. We tried three possible policies. Snapshot ignores the cost of reroute and only minimizes the lengths of plans. COR snapshot considers both the cost of reroutes and the length of plans and minimizes their sum. Replan single avoids reroutes altogether by only assigning new agents with plans that don't conflict with existing agents. We see that as the cost of reroute increases, so does the average cost of snapshot solutions, while the cost of replan single solutions remains stable. Therefore, when COR is low, we may prefer snapshot, but at higher reroute costs, we will prefer replan single. COR snapshot finds on average a solution with costs similar to the minimal of snapshot and replan single. Therefore, COR snapshot can always be used if the cost of reroute is not known in advance. Finally, we look at the priorities variant. In this setting, agents may have different priorities. For instance, we may assign private vehicles a low priority, public transport a higher priority, and emergency response vehicles the highest priority. The target function for this setting is the sum of costs with priority, where the length of each agent's plan is multiplied by that agent's priority. Equivalently, we may look at just the difference between each agent's optimal plan length and the length of their plan in the joint solution, to emphasize the extent to which agents were delayed. We tried to solve this problem with our existing solvers, on instances with a mix of agents with high priority and agents with low priority, and a high appearance rate. We see that there is a large gap between snapshot optimal and replan single in terms of both cost and problem coverage. We suggest another algorithm called stratified priorities. In this algorithm, whenever new agents appear, we take all agents, both new and old, and divide them into buckets of agents with equal priority. We sort the buckets from highest to lowest priority. We then start to iterate over the buckets. We attempt to find a solution for the group of agents contained in the bucket via delegation to any MapF solver. If we find a solution, we protect it in a reservation table. It may be impossible to find a valid solution for a given bucket because of existing reservations. In this case, we merge that bucket with the previous bucket, remove the previous bucket's reservations, and look for a joint solution for the group of agents in the merged bucket. We continue in this manner until all buckets have a solution. One final thing to note is that if the MapF solver we use is a complete MapF solver, stratified priorities will also be a complete solver. We tried solving the same instances using stratified priorities. In one variant, we had stratified priorities use our snapshot optimal solver. In another variant, we had it use prioritized planning. Our results show that stratified priorities fills the gap between snapshot and replan single, and that its performance within that range is determined by the MapF solver that it uses. In conclusion, snapshot optimal is usually very close to offline optimal. When considering the cost of reroute, we will prefer COR snapshot or replan single. And when considering priorities, we provide 4 different solvers for different balances of the trade-off between quality and efficiency. Future work could consider a fairness measure in online MapF, or the cost of delaying the arrival time of agents after they had already been promised to arrive at their goal by a certain time. We're currently researching a snapshot optimal online MapF solver based on ICTS that may be more efficient than current approaches in terms of runtime. Thank you for listening.